It was 1988 that the Charlotte Hornets entered the NBA with designer uniforms, ambitious dreams, and little else. But after astute drafting, the Hornets' final ingredient fell into place this season with the appearance of rookie Alonzo Mourning. So in 5 years, the men of teal have reached their playoff dream and exceeded it as Mourning's shot dispatched the tradition-rich Boston Celtics in 4 games. Now for the Hornets, it's judgment time as they face one of the NBA's most imposing forces, Patrick Ewing and the New York Knicks. Ewing has been Mourning's mentor, but today their friendship is on hold. Picked by many to win the NBA title, the Knicks had to battle before eliminating the Indiana Pacers. Now they face the upstart Hornets, unwilling to relinquish their own championship dreams just yet.
This is the NBA on NBC. The 1993 NBA playoffs. Today, it's the Charlotte Hornets versus the New York Knicks.
Famed Madison Square Garden in New York, where today the New York Knicks put the NBA's best home record on the line against the Charlotte Hornets in Game 1 of the best-of-7 Eastern Conference semifinals. The Hornets got here by beating the Boston Celtics in 4 games. New York also advanced in 4 at the expense of the Indiana Pacers. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Madison Square Garden. Happy Mother's Day. Tom Hammond and Steve Snapper Jones on hand for Game 1. Actually, Snapper, I think the series got underway last night when Patrick Ewing welcomed his friend Alonzo Mourning in the lobby of the Hornets Hotel to whisk him away for a night on the town. There's some historical precedence for this, isn't there?
There is. It's called getting that friendly edge. Chamberlain and Russell in their competitive heydays. Russell used to come over, get Chamberlain trying to take this thing out of the battle. Well, we know that Chamberlain dominated all of the games, and it was Russell who won all the titles. Ewing would like the latter. He'd like to get his first championship.
Well, all the pre-series attention has gone to the center matchup, but actually it's the littlest man on the court that might have the biggest impact.
He might have the biggest stinger. The littlest man, Muggsy Bogues. He has turned out to have the best assist-to-ratio turnover, not only during the regular season, but the playoffs as well. He is a very disruptive force, and what the New York Knicks are concerned about is his ability to push the ball and steal the ball.
In their opening series, the Knicks sometimes struggled when the Pacers pushed the ball. Did this expose a weakness?
I think it did. I think that Pat Riley's very concerned about his transition defense to make sure that they stop giving up easy layups and easy perimeter shots. So they're going to have to get back first, and then they're going to have to cover all the perimeter players.
The New York Knicks look to Patrick Ewing for most of their points, but he's not the only weapon they have. Right now, Doc Rivers is playing at the top of his game. And for more on that, let's go to Dan Hicks.
Thanks a lot, Tom. Let's try to put this in perspective for you. This is Patrick Ewing's team, but the spirit of this Knicks club is definitely embodied in Doc Rivers. In just 1 short year, he has meshed in with his team as its undisputed floor leader. It's been a long and arduous journey for Doc Rivers for a possible world championship. There were all those years in Atlanta, the trade to the Clippers, of course, and then the trade back to New York, where just a short time ago, Doc Rivers thought it was an impossible dream to get a world championship. Well, he could be on the threshold now. Doc Rivers, the heart of the Knicks. Patrick Ewing gets the headlines, but if Doc Rivers isn't on the floor, they have no heart. The Knicks know that. Tom?
All right, Dan, but all eyes will be on the Hoya Destroyers. Ewing and Mourning set to meet in the middle in Game 1. And a beautiful day in New York, a spring day, and inside Madison Square Garden, the Laser Show, welcoming the introduction of the Knicks starting lineup. Knicks have won 22 straight here at the Garden. Let's look at the starting Charlotte lineup. In the backcourt, Bogues, 5th in NBA assists, and Kendall Gill had a good series against Boston. He's averaging 19 a game in the playoffs. At forward for the Hornets, Larry Johnson, last season's NBA Rookie of the Year, Charlotte's top scorer, and an Iron Man. He led the league in minutes. He's paired with a veteran Newman. And Mourning, runner-up to Shaquille O'Neal for Rookie of the Year. He had 2 30-point games against Boston in the opening playoff series. Take a look at the New York Knicks starting lineups now, just being introduced to the sellout crowd at the Garden. As Alan Bristow will guide the Hornets today. He spent 10 years as an NBA player and has taken the young Hornets to their first playoff appearance. Next, we'll go in the backcourt with Doc Rivers. Clutch three-point shooting in Game 4 overtime win over Indiana. And, of course, the intense, unpredictable John Starks. At forward for the Knicks, Oakley, who's averaging 11 rebounds a game in the playoffs. And Smith counted on for some inside scoring. And MVP candidate Patrick Ewing, who averaged 35 points in 4 games against Charlotte this season, more than against any other team. And the coach, Pat Riley, who continues to add to his record number of playoff victories. He now has 111. Game 1 of the best-of-7 series between the young Charlotte Hornets, led by Alonzo Mourning, and the veteran New York Knicks and Patrick Ewing. And there's the key man, perhaps, Muggsy Bogues. It'll be his tempo, pushing the ball on offense, pressuring the New York guards on defense that could determine the outcome not only of this game, but of the entire series.
You know, Tom, with that first-round success, everyone here at the Garden and all around New York, it feels that the Knicks are on their way to a championship. That's all I've heard over the last couple of days. We are on our way. We're going to get it. But the guy that's going to try to stop Muggsy Bogues and the Hornets, we'll see how it goes this afternoon.
The Knicks took 3 of 4 in the regular season from Charlotte, but the Hornets did win here at Madison Square Garden, which was rare indeed.
Right away, Muggsy Bogues is the guy that's going to double team, got over and forced a turnover Charles Smith.
And even on the out-of-bounds play, Bogues pushes the ball up, and now the Hornets go into their passing game offense. Larry Johnson, checked by Oakley, shoots over him for the first 2 of the game.
That's 78 more to go.
Johnson predicted he would score 80 against the Knicks after he felt he was snubbed at the All-Star game by Pat Riley, who played him only 17 minutes. Well, this could be, 76 to go and counting. Larry Johnson hits his first 2.
That's a tough matchup for Charles Oakley, particularly when Larry Johnson comes out on the floor. This is Charles Smith down in the hole, and a good move against Alonzo Mourning, and then you see the push and Charles Smith getting in between, and right out of it, Johnson got a hoop.
Smith loses it. Johnson had it for a moment, slapped away from him. And Johnson is hurt, still on the court. You see him at the right of your screen now. Johnson still prone on the floor. A timeout as Larry Johnson is tended to. We'll have a report on his condition when we return to Madison Square Garden. Literally being carried from the floor after apparently injuring his right ankle and being carried all the way to the Hornets dressing room. Apparently during a scramble for the loose ball, Charles Smith of the Knicks fell on the back of his ankle.
Just as he was trying to get the ball, Smith will come down on that ankle. He immediately grabbed for it and was in severe pain from that point on. From behind, you get another look at the collision. And certainly that it really puts a big hole in what Alan Bristow can do with his team. Larry Johnson off to a terrific start, hit his first 2 shots and down with an injury, and that's how quickly playoff fortunes can change. Let's hope that it's similar to Michael Jordan when he was carried off the floor and he returned, but he looked in much worse condition than Jordan when he was down in Atlanta. Bogues.
Gaddison, who came in to replace Johnson, misses underneath, but then is fouled. Larry Johnson had been the only Hornet to shoot. He had put up 2, he had hit 2, but he's carried from the floor, and that would just about end Charlotte's hopes to upset the Knicks.
They need Johnson at full strength, Mourning at full strength, Kendall Gill, and then the peskiness of Tyrone Brooks. And Brooks broke down the defense on that last possession, came right down, went by everybody. That's how Gaddison ended up getting to the free throw line. So they've got to try to keep Muggsy Bogues out of the middle, and certainly that's going to put some pressure on Patrick Ewing in terms of shot blocking because he's going to have to give help.
Gaddison ready for his second free throw. In his 7th year out of Old Dominion. A little housekeeping first on the floor, wiping up a wet spot. Jess Kersey, Hugh Hollins, Ron Garrettson, the officials today. Gaddison has been averaging 26 minutes in the playoffs, nearly 7 more than during the regular season. So Alan Bristow loses some of his depth, too, having to put Gaddison on the floor now.
Pressure.
Charlotte by 1.
This is a guy they want to handle the ball because they know that Oakley's not good under pressure, making decisions with the ball. Shot clock at 14.
Ewing over Mourning. Knicks jockey back on top. Kendall Gill being checked by Starks. Here's Mourning straight away. Newman, the former Knick, can't hit. Smith gives it up to Rivers, and the Knicks are in a hurry. Oakley.
That's a shot that the Hornets want to see come up from Oakley. Even though he knocks it down occasionally, that's not the guy that's going to do the offensive damage.
Knicks are 4 for 4. They open the game without a miss, including a 3 by John Starks. Baseline drive by Newman, and they reversed it through. Newman really blossomed during his career as a Knick. As the Knicks, with a quick shot of their own, second field goal in a row by Oakley, and they're 5 for 5.
On the post, Kendall Gill, but he couldn't finish.
The Knicks taking a page from the Charlotte book and pushing the ball up court in a hurry every possession.
Well, they want to find out, the Hornets that is, whether the Knicks can play 48 minutes of basketball at this pace. They're a team that likes to slow down and lock in. Bogues.
Oakley with a rebound.
You see, Starks had a chance to push it. He coming back at a slower pace right now. Oakley again, he feels a hot hand.
And he hits. Charles Oakley is 3 for 3, leading the Knick attack, which opens a 5-point lead.
Mourning's strength is right there with the quick move trying to come to the rim. He gets an offensive foul. Oakley.
Alonzo Mourning with his first personal foul.
This is the way you want Mourning to go. Left. Force him to his left hand. He was not able to stop, pull up in time. Oakley had played very well here at the outset. Turnover.
Rivers was expecting Oakley to cut for the basket, and the ball sailed out of bounds.
That's the Bogues factor. You know, pressure, 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 make you think you've got to get rid of the ball earlier than you do.
Mourning backs off and shoots over Patrick Ewing. First 2 for Alonzo Mourning. And there's Bogues again, pressuring Rivers in backcourt. Ewing. Ewing has hit both of his shots.
During the 4 games over the regular season, Ewing averaged 35, and they have to keep his numbers down. They've got to keep him somewhere in the 20s.
Bogues can't hit, but an offensive board by Gaddison, who puts it up no good. Mourning fighting for it, off him and out of bounds.
Gaddison's got to finish those shots inside. With the long arms, he gets the rebound, but if he's not able to finish the play, that really pronounces the effect that Larry Johnson's absence had.
Gaddison has all 3 Charlotte rebounds. Rebounds all even at 3. Backcourt pressure from the entire Charlotte team, not just Bogues this time. New York has hit 7 of its first 8 shots. Gill pushing it for the Hornets, gives it up to Bogues. And Mourning couldn't handle the pass off target from Muggsy Bogues. Charlotte turns it over. again, Bogues right in the face of Doc Rivers. It's Rivers off his knee and out of bounds under the pressure from Muggsy. It's astounding how small Muggsy Bogues is.
What Doc Rivers is going to have to do is give that ball up, because this guy is going to harass him and wear him out.
Kendall Gill's been quiet. Out of bounds. Last touch for the Knicks.
Charles Smith wanted over the back by Gaddison. Gaddison is coming on every shot, so you've got to put a body between him and the hoop.
Rivers can't get low enough to guard Bogues. Newman shoots outside. Way off the mark. Bad-looking shot by Johnny Newman. Starks. Lob. Smith can't get it down. Gill the other way.
That's a shot that Bogues is going to have to make. He has yet to make that shot there. They're going to give him that the entire afternoon.
Bogues 0 for 3. Out of bounds to New York.
Again, what makes Bogues so special, he missed a shot at his end of the floor, sprinted back the other way, and you watch right at the end whose hand comes into play. Muggsy Bogues to make a save.
And here's a Charlotte steal. Outside shot finally goes for Johnny Newman. 3-point lead for the Knicks.
If he could have jumped, he would have had that one.
Then Gill broke it up.
This is what the Charlotte Hornets do to you. They get you in a track meet. They force you to make mistakes with the basketball. And right now, they have the tempo in their favor. Now you watch right here. Bogues is right there. Just can't get up high enough.
5'3". Well, Charlotte right in the game, despite the absence of Larry Johnson, who was 2 for 2 before injuring his ankle. Dan Hicks is awaiting word on his condition and will update us as soon as he gets the word. 6:11 left in the opening quarter from the Garden. Knicks leading the Hornets by 3.
They have to get Kendall Gill involved, and we'll find out how they do that. Warning trying to save it, almost picked up a foul.
Gaddison missed the shot. New York has turned the ball over 3 of their last 5 possessions. First miss by Ewing on the floor. Nobody picked it up, but Ewing batted it out of bounds.
Bogues was standing and waiting, and so was Kendall Gill. And fortunately, Ewing couldn't control it.
So far, the pace much to the liking of the Hornets, though they trail by 3.
That's Mourning's shot. Right there at the top of the key. You ought to remember that, because that's the one that sends the Celtics home.
Alonzo has 4. That's the one that beat Boston in Game 4 in Charlotte, although the Celtics had a last gasp attempt on the lob to D. Brown that some thought was a goal team.
Steal.
Newman with a finish from Bogues. Johnny Newman has 6 of Charlotte's points, and they take the lead. And the New York Knicks will call a timeout.
He's saying, give me a rest. Get this little guy off of me.
Muggsy Bogues and the Hornets have come from behind to lead New York by 1. Muggsy Bogues is in some pretty elite company with those numbers. And he has the Hornets swarming right now. They're on a 6-0 run. And the harassing defense of Bogues has forced New York into 4 turnovers over the last 3 minutes. They're also 0 of 4 shooting after connecting on 7 of their first 8.
One of the ways that Pat Riley can take pressure off Doc Rivers is to give the ball to Anthony Mason. Mason is not bad at handling the ball, bringing it up the floor so the Knicks can set up. You see how much further out on the floor Bogues is forcing the Knicks to set.
Off-balance shot by Ewing won't go, and a tough rebound by Gaddison. 5th board for Kenny Gaddison in relief of Larry Johnson.
Trying to get the ball inside the Mourning. They had a switch. Finally dropped it off.
Newman with a baseline drive, left it for Mourning on the slam, and Alonzo Mourning is 3 for 3, 6 points. Hornets by 3. Ewing calls for it on the post-up. Turns and gives to Oakley. Charles Oakley carrying the ball for the Knicks offense. He's 4 for 4.
Now the reason for that that score so easily, Gaddison was too late in getting to the hoop. Get a foul against Ewing. Good post-up position by Mourning and a quick turn inside, and Ewing is too late and picks up the foul.
Patrick Ewing, friend and companion of Alonzo Mourning, and the two have had some memorable battles. Dikembe Mutombo of the Denver Nuggets joins him in the summer at Georgetown in Washington, D.C. And they really go at it, sometimes so intensely that John Thompson is tempted to call off to make him quit when he's observed him go at it.
Consistent and even a little bit better in the postseason play. Mourning's numbers have come up, and many have said, well, if the Rookie of the Year award was voted on today, there would be a lot more votes going in the favor of Alonzo Mourning.
Said he was astounded by the number of games they play in the pros. Although he finished strongly, he was NBA Rookie of the Month in March and April. Starks got away from Gill and feeds Ewing. Mourning with a foul. And a call of foul actually on Kenny Gaddison. So Gaddison gets the foul. Let's go to Dan Hicks for a report on Larry Johnson.
All right, thank you very much. I'm with Terry Klopfer, the team trainer for the Charlotte Hornets. Tom, what is the severity of Larry Johnson's injury?
Well, he's sore in the tibia area, and we want to get a picture before halftime, see if there's a crack or anything. If there's no crack, then we'll reevaluate it and maybe see if we can play in the second half.
So there will be x-rays taken here, or will you have to go to the hospital?
We're taking him to the hospital right now.
What is his mood? What is his spirits in there right now?
Very solid.
When will we be expected to hear more on his condition?
When we get back to the hospital, and they hopefully.
All right, let's go back to Tom at courtside. Tom.
All right, Dan, x-rays will be taken on Johnson's right leg, the tibia in question, and if the x-rays prove negative, we could see him again.
Johnny Newman showing he's got a big advantage over the forwards with quickness and getting to the rim. Lost another one, but the guy that's been moving without the basketball right at the rim. Nice pass from Ewing. Oakley 10 1/4.
Which has 3 minutes 40 seconds remaining. Hornets by 2.
Mourning's going to come right. Ewing challenged him, cuts him off.
Mourning got his own and put it back. Alonzo Mourning off the offensive board. Has 10 points and 3 rebounds in his battle against Patrick Ewing. Starks. Mourning taps to Bogues, heads up play. 3-on-2, Charlotte. Bogues all the way, his first hoop. Starks from outside. He was 1-on-3, so the rebound numbers strictly to Charlotte.
You see that they've got the Knicks stretched out. They're shooting the ball quickly, playing at the Hornets' pace. Hornets able to get second opportunities.
Kendall Gill with that offensive rebound. Suddenly, Charlotte Hornets are hitting their offensive board. Rainbow from Gill won't go, and Ewing has it.
Knicks have never been able to set the tempo and slow the game down, and that's why the Hornets have the advantage.
Mourning concedes that shot to Ewing, who makes it pay. Patrick Ewing with 7 points. Gaddison making a move on Oakley. Couldn't finish it. Tapped out to Gill. With a slam.
That's what young athletic legs can do for you. Get there in a hurry. Gill his first 2.
Former Illini stand out with a steal. Gill with his second slam in a row. Charlotte has its biggest lead. The Hornets up 30-22.
Alan Bristol on the sideline. He's as frantic right now as his team. He's waving them and they're buzzing all over the place. And the Knicks are not really prepared for the pressure.
Ewing baseline. Mourning got a piece. Oakley has it stripped away. Right back to Ewing, who got the roll. Newman got a step on Mason. Nice lead for Gaddison on the slam. Charlotte playing excellent team basketball. Gaddison with 4 points as Newman got the assist. They leave Oakley open again.
At some point, that shot's going to stop coming for him because fatigue is going to take effect, and we see him get his first miss from out on the perimeter. Gill coming strong to the hoop.
Ewing cut him off and left Mourning open, but he can't hit. Ewing against Mourning. Patrick Ewing now has 11 points as the Knicks pull within 6 and a steal with 30 seconds left in the quarter. Anthony was open, Greg Anthony of the Knicks. Instead, they'll hold it for a better shot.
The Knicks are walking right now, and that's not a good sign for them if they have to play at this pace. Ewing deep.
Too deep. Charlotte can hold for the final shot of the quarter. Newman is fouled by Mason, and he'll have a chance for the three-point play at 1.6 seconds.
The pressure of stringing the Knicks defense out is showing right now. Ewing did not move his feet, beaten very badly as Newman gets to the rim, draws the foul. So they have pushed, and challenged the New York Knicks, and the Knicks pride themselves on conditioning, but they've run up against a team that's in better shape for this kind of game.
The Hornets, the second best scoring team in the NBA, facing the Knicks, who had the best defense. And right now the nod goes to the offense. 1.6 seconds left as Newman, who spent 3 years in a Knick uniform, will try to convert the three-point trip. Coming up, the deciding game, the Lakers and Phoenix. Some history will be made in Phoenix. For the first time, can an 8th seed beat a number 1 seed? Or can a team that lost first 2 at home come back to win a best-of-5 series? It'll be James Worthy and the LA Lakers, Charles Barkley and the Phoenix Suns. The third game of our triple header coming up next. New York Knicks have been rocked back on their heels by the pace of the game set by Muggsy Bogues and the Hornets.
Look up there on the scoreboard, and it tells you that this is an extension of the problem that they had with the Indiana Pacers. 34 points have been given up here by the New York Knicks. They average giving up in the regular season 95. And in the playoffs so far, they are being outscored by their opponents. So they're going to have to come up with some big plays, and they're certainly going to have to use better judgment, take care of the basketball, as they've got to change the tempo of this ball game.
Are you shocked that Charlotte has the lead without Larry Johnson?
I'm shocked that they've been able to maintain the lead, but they've got big performances from everybody so far. Gaddison has been big on the boards, and then they've got big offensive punch from Johnny Newman. Now you'll see the game change as Muggsy Bogues goes out. For the Hornets, it's only going to be about a 2-minute rest before he'll be back on the floor, and Tony Bennett comes in to replace him.
Del Curry is also in the lineup for the first time, and there's Bennett, the rookie from Wisconsin Green Bay. Sidney Green on the floor for the Hornets as well, as Alan Bristow gets a little extra rest just before the quarter ends for his regulars. Johnny Newman. 3 years with the Knicks, 3 years now in Charlotte, a year with the Cavaliers. Can't hit the free throw. Mason on the rebound, and he won't get a shot away. So Alonzo Mourning and the Charlotte Hornets buzzing to the first quarter lead without the injured Larry Johnson. At the end of the first period at Madison Square Garden, Charlotte leading New York 34-26.
Welcome back to Madison Square Garden. Dan Hicks here courtside. Larry Johnson, his injured right ankle, being wheeled off to the hospital for x-rays. I talked to him just a moment ago, right before he left, and I asked him if he had a message for his teammates. He told them, tell them I will be back definitely for the second half. We will see. And we'll have another update on Larry Johnson a little bit later. Let's go back to Tom.
All right, Dan, Alonzo Mourning and the Hornets with the lead despite the injury to Larry Johnson, which came only a minute 8 seconds into the first quarter. He had hit his first 2 shots. New York led by 1 when Johnson went out.
This group out on the floor now for the Hornets should give the Knicks a chance to lock on and get control of the tempo of the game. Curry, Wingate, Bennett, Yaminsky, and Sidney Green. Ewing, illegal defense.
That's the first illegal defense against the New York Knicks, so only a warning. Turnovers important in the Charlotte lead thus far. New York has turned it over 6 times, which have led to 8 Hornet points.
The most explosive scorer out on the floor is Dale Curry. And you can see that they're going to pressure him and make it tough for him to get that jump shot unloaded.
Ten on the shot clock is Yaminsky, the veteran from Duke, with a sweeping hook. In his 13th season, Mike Yaminsky, who had played sparingly, only 1 minute in the Boston series. Biggest lead for the Hornets, the first double-figure advantage for either team.
Now they should exploit this matchup with Mason. Mason just runs through. Wingate trying to get the offensive rebound on the shot from Anthony.
Greg Anthony from outside. David Wingate, checked by Smith. Yaminsky's second shot. Green kept it alive on the floor, picked up by Anthony. Ewing calls for the pass, has it, stripped away. Alan Bristow's team, good quick defensive hands when it looked like Ewing would have a slam.
So Ewing is going to get a breather after a near opportunity to dunk the ball. Oakley will come in. So the front line changes and they take out the big offensive hub. Blackman will have to pick up the pace.
Rolando Blackman can't hit. Off Oakley and out of bounds to Charlotte.
Be interesting to see how much time Bristol's able to buy with this unit out on the floor and how much offensive production he gets before the Knicks really get into him defensively. Doubling.
Bennett just able to tap it to Wingate. Curry trying to move on Mason. Anthony for the Knicks. Charles Smith. Knicks can't hit. Oakley with a defensive play. Unlucky bounce for New York. Bennett. Tony Bennett, the rookie from outside. And again, backcourt pressure from Charlotte. And with 9:52, we'll take a timeout as the Hornets continue to put the sting to New York. Mother's Day playoff game at the Garden, bringing out the celebrities in New York. Dustin Hoffman is here. Harry Belafonte on hand, a front row seat. John McEnroe and former Met Keith Hernandez. Good place to bring Mom to the Garden, although not much to cheer about for the New York faithful thus far.
Well, they got 6 seconds to get it over the end line, and that's what Alonzo Mourning reminded the Knicks of, or the officials of. Blackman all the way to the hole, can't finish.
Mason, that shot will not count. A Charlotte foul. Sidney Green committing the foul before Mason could get it
on the drive, and they're going to say he got him on the elbow, but he never touched the elbow. Blackman just left that one short. Now, during that timeout, Yaminsky was taken out of the game. He wanted to play. He couldn't even get close to that huddle. I mean, he stood down at the other end. He's on the end of the bench right now. He is steaming, trying to get himself under control. Mourning back in the ball game, but they need that inside defense because they know that the Knicks are going to challenge them there. But you can see there is a fella that is not happy right now.
Yaminsky had hit 1 of 2 coming off the bench. Rolando Blackman, the man fouled as he got his shot up, not on Mason's follow, and Blackman hits a pair. It's an 8-point game.
Now, Mourning is the guy that they should be trying to go to at the offensive end. He's got an advantage with Oakley on him. Let's see if they get him the ball. 8 on the clock.
Wingate can't hit. Here come the Knicks. Alonzo Mourning, the only Charlotte starter on the court at the moment. And Carl Smith hits from outside. How long will Alan Bristow stay with this unit?
He can't stay very long, because he's not going to get that much production. He's got to get Mourning going. He gets him coming to the rim. And he's also got to get Del Curry involved. The other guys are basically to give him a breather and also to play a little defense, keep the pressure on the Knicks.
Alonzo Mourning bullying to the basket. I think he took a finger in the right eye, still rubbing it as he comes down court. And Blackman hits. Bennett left open.
Bennett can stick it, and you've got to stay up on him. The 2 shots that he's made, he's been left uncovered.
Tony Bennett drills his 4th point, as you noted, and the Charlotte lead back to 8. Away from the basketball, it's Del Curry being called by Jess Kersey for foul.
You want Ewing to go left. They try to close it off. Couldn't see whether he got the finger in the eye then, but he came out rubbing his eye, but he's fine.
Oakley might have accidentally poked him in the eye. Here's another Charlotte foul. David Wingate called for the personal. That's his first.
Team third, and what they've got the last 2 fouls on screen situation where those guards are not allowing Blackman to run down on the baseline.
Bristow continues to keep most of his starters on the bench, which, as Mason hits from outside, which is a clear signal that once they return, the pace is going to heat up again. He's hoping to keep his men fresh when the regulars return. The pace will step up. Charlotte turnover. Anthony. Wingate had a hand on it, and now Anthony lays it up no good. Green. Mourning tapped it in with Mason on his back. I think they're going to count it. Yes, the basket will be good by Alonzo Mourning.
Good drive here by Anthony, but it's short. And out of it, Dale Curry makes a hard push the other way. They get a quick shot from Green, and on the other side of the rim is Alonzo Mourning with Mason on his back.
Well, Mourning and Ewing during the regular season brought out the best in each other. You mentioned earlier Ewing averaging 35 against the Hornets. Mourning averaging 24 points or 25 points and 12 rebounds against the Knicks. He has 15 points, 6 rebounds in the first half here. Green over the back of Smith, trying for the steal. Patrick Ewing set to return to the battle.
Bristow was able to buy some valuable time. Green and Wingate go out. Gaddison, who was strong on the boards, along with Kendall Gill, returns.
Muggsy Bogues remains on the bench.
And at the time, they had a 10-point lead when they made these changes. It's only a 9-point lead, but they're still controlling the game. Ewing
on the fall away. Curry leads the Charlotte break. Nice bounce pass to Mourning, who's fouled by Ewing. What a pretty pass. Second foul on Patrick Ewing.
Slides it right under the hand of Ewing. The crowd wanted a walk. He may have gotten an extra step, but what he showed was he's running from inline to inline, and Ewing is going to have to hustle back, or he's going to be shooting layup.
Misses the free throw.
Get one more look at the sprint, and you see that Ewing initially had the lead, and Mourning ran right by him.
Game 1 of the best-of-7 Eastern Conference semifinal. If you just joined us, All-Star Larry Johnson of Charlotte went down barely a minute into the game with an injury to his right leg, right ankle. Has been taken to the hospital for x-ray. Despite that, Charlotte has been the dominant team in the first half. Mason. Guarded by Gaddison, and Bennett comes to help. Ewing from outside.
The Knicks are holding the basketball and they're uncertain, so they don't have enough ball movement, player movement, and they're into one shot and a pass right now. That makes the defense of the Hornets that much stingier.
Blackman. Saved by Oakley. A three by Blackman. Again, Oakley keeps it alive, but it comes right to Gill. Bennett lays it up and got it.
Most of the time when you give up multiple opportunities, you get burned, but out of it, they get a layup, and they push the lead to 12.
Tony Bennett has 6 points, double his average. Ewing fouled as he moves to the basket. It's been an uphill battle for Ewing and the Knicks. 6:05 left in the first half. Charlotte leads by 12. Pat Riley and the New York Knicks trailing the Charlotte Hornets 48-36. As Riley looked back on the series against Indiana, he said now it's time for New York to start putting all the pieces together.
I think for the most part, when you get into the playoffs, it's really about winning. And you know that just making an effort isn't good enough. You got to play well with the effort. There were times that we made a great effort and didn't play well. There were times that we played well, didn't make great effort. Now, what we have to do in this series is we have to put both those together. If we don't put both those together in this series, then it's going to be a very, very competitive series.
And Riley was right on the mark. It's been very competitive as Charlotte has forced the tempo of the game.
They have controlled the basketball game from the outset with the two hoops from Johnson and then the pressure by Muggsy Bogues. And the amazing thing is that they were able to buy some time with perhaps their porous offensive unit out on the floor. They were able to extend the lead, and the New York Knicks now have to fight uphill in the final 6:05 of the second quarter.
Morning so far winning the battle of the behemoths, besting Patrick Ewing. Muggsy Bogues back in the Charlotte lineup. Interesting to note that while Bogues was on the Charlotte bench, New York did not commit a turnover. They went 6 minutes without turning the ball over. When Bogues was in there, that was a real problem for New York. There's Muggsy.
Now, Dale Curry will benefit by Muggsy Bogues being back out on the floor because the penetration will break down the interior. Curry will get open.
Like that, but Ewing intimidated him. Curry able to get the rebound, however, and Charlotte sets it up again. Mourning with a strong drive against Oakley, and now Ewing the rebound. Ewing not matched up against Mourning on that series. It was Oakley guarding it. Kendall Gill with a reach-in foul. The basket will not count.
That's a tough matchup up front. Mason, 250 pounds and much stronger, is going to be able to hold his position against Kendall Gill. They were able to get it down in deep. Gill picks up the personal.
Charlotte in the penalty situation. Mason shooting 2 here.
Mason's coming off a career-high playoff 25. Tremendous fourth ball game against the Indiana Pacers. He was a guy, along with Doc Rivers, that really made the difference in the Knicks being able to get out of that series without a Game 5.
Mason has been shooting at a 64% clip in the playoffs.
Curry went down. Newman snuck back in the game.
Bad pass from Bogues, stolen by Mason, who goes between the legs and is grabbed by Muggsy Bogues. Mason with a little fancy dribbling, trying to show something to Muggsy.
He knew that if he didn't get that ball between his legs, he was going to perhaps see it go away. Now you see Bogues sees right there that Gill is open, couldn't quite handle it, and right in there he tried to jump in. So rather than let him get away, he'll put him back on the line. Mason not strong from the free throw line.
Muggsy's legs aren't long enough to go between them. Mason rolls that one in. He is on the regular season 68% of the free throw line. Mason, there are those little short, stubby Muggsy Bogues legs. I mean, when you look at him on the court, there's just no way that he can be effective. 5'3", he looks even smaller than that.
He's not supposed to be effective, but that tells you how quick he is and how disruptive he is. Quickness is one of Mourning's strengths, and he was able to get by, put some pressure on the defense. They almost got a turnover on the net. I mean, against the Hornets.
It's off Anthony Mason, back to Charlotte as Oakley continues to check Mourning. Ewing opened the game on him, but now it's Ewing taking Gaddison. They set a screen, Gaddison does. Mourning misses the outside shot.
They want to keep Ewing out of foul problems, and that's the way to keep him in the game is to let someone else handle him. They missed a wide open Anthony Mason at the other end.
Ewing got the roll off the front of the rim with Mourning right in his face. Steal by Rivers. New York with an 8-0 run and closed within 4.
The reason for that last turnover, Doc Rivers was laying off in the passing lane. When that ball popped up, he had an easy chance.
Ewing came to help on Mourning and forced him to alter his shot.
Questionable shot selection has got the Hornets dead in the water right now. Plus they're fouling. So the Knicks, who were struggling to score, are getting easy opportunities on the free throw line.
Ewing with a pass to Oakley, who's fouled by Johnny Newman.
Doc Rivers knew that the ball was going to be swung by Gill. He never saw Doc Rivers. Rivers knifed in for an easy 2. This is the kind of lift that Rivers has been giving the New York Knicks through the playoff here in the early round. .605. They were ahead by 12. They have not scored in just about 2 minutes of play, and the Knicks have been on a little run of their own.
Charles Oakley, former NCAA Division II National Player of the Year out of Virginia Union. Hits the second free throw. Oakley's been in postseason play every season in the NBA. 3 years with Chicago, 5 now with the Knicks. 9-0 New York run. Newman too high, got his own and put it back.
Newman is doing one thing very, very well this afternoon, and that's keeping the pressure on those players that are guarding him. Steal Newman.
Newman the steal, reversed, no good. Rebounded by Oakley. Starks in front court to Mason. Starks. Bogues slapped it away. Quick hands of Muggsy Bogues.
Showing you that Starks is fearless. He's going to challenge an outstanding shot blocker, and before he could get there, didn't have the ball.
Quick shot by John Starks. Ewing offensive board. The Knicks will set it up.
There have been more second opportunities here in the quarter for the Knicks as well, trying to look inside to Ewing.
Patrick Ewing. Ewing now with 16 points, and the Knicks are within 3. Mourning, offensive glass, draws the foul.
Their plan is to try to get Ewing off the blocks if they can, get someone to drop down and double team before anyone can make a move back. Ewing has turned and hit the fadeaway. Inside, Alonzo Mourning has been a force on the offensive glass. He parks on the other side where the shot's being taken, knowing it's probably going to come his way. Back on the free throw line. This is the guy that's gotten a ton of free throws so far this season and in the playoffs.
And a good free throw shooter, 78% on the season. Mourning shooting for his 17th point. He also has 7 rebounds. Alonzo Mourning plays with such intensity. And we were talking to him yesterday. You asked him about that, and he said growing up in Virginia, Chesapeake, Virginia, his first love was football. He was a huge Washington Redskins fan. His curtains, his bed sheets were all Redskins. In junior high, when he went out for football, it was a disaster. To start with, they didn't have any cleats that would fit him. He had to play in tennis shoes, and he was just awful. And then peer pressure forced him into basketball. But he was so awkward and so clumsy, they laughed at him. And it was at that point that he was determined to make them see that he could be an outstanding basketball player. And after playing for a couple of years, the first time he dunked, he said, "I knew I would make it." And he said that intensity has carried over into everything he does in his life. And you never see him back off of it every time. Full open throttle, wide open speed, and he is going to be a great NBA player. Ewing. Oakley again with an offensive rebound gives Ewing a second chance. And this time Mourning takes it. Here's Bogues in a hurry. Mourning, strong move and an offensive foul. Alonzo Mourning with his second personal foul.
Bogues pushed it very quickly. Now Mourning had a shot right there. He wanted to get in deeper. Ewing, no, he likes to come strong right. Parked on that hand, picks up the charge.
Hornets continue to lead by 5.
Hi, Bob Costas in New York. Coming up on the Prudential Halftime Report, we'll bring you highlights and reaction from the early game today in Cleveland between the Nets and the Cavs. We'll size up the next series for Cleveland, which is, of course, a matchup with the Chicago Bulls. And we'll preview the third game of today's triple-header, the deciding game in Phoenix between the Suns and the Lakers. We'll get to all of that in just a few minutes. But right now, back to the Garden, Tom Hammond and Snapper Jones. Tom?
All right, Bob, 2:45 left until we join you at halftime, 52-47, as Ewing and Mourning, good friends that they are, exchange a little pleasantries, and it's been a virtual dead heat in their individual matchup here in the first half.
Mourning smiling, saying, you got me that time. He knew he was coming right and picked up the foul. Starks has not been a factor in this game so far, with the exception of that early three. They'd like to get him unleashed. Steele Newman.
Johnny Newman playing very well against his former team.
Starting unit minus Larry Johnson is out on the floor now. Mourning, a foul against Oakley. Crowd heard all ball. Mourning coming back to his left, and he'll put the ball out, and that's when looked to me like he got all ball, but Oakley didn't complain, and normally when he gets a call against him, the Oak man is pretty, well, he's pretty vocal and upset about it. Doesn't say much.
Interesting that Pat Riley has the luxury of defending Mourning with someone other than Patrick Ewing, while Alan Bristow has no one else that can check Patrick when the Charlottes play defense. It has to be Mourning, so Riley can guard against fouls. Well, this big man, Bristow cannot.
They can use Gaddison, but there's no Larry Johnson. Between those two guys, they both average 20 points, 10 rebounds a game, and you've got 20 points gone plus 10 rebounds, and that's part of what's helped the Knicks get back in offensive board. Steele, but Gill couldn't control it. The pressure has really bothered the New York Knicks through the first half. They've been at poor passing angles, and they've laid the ball out, and the Hornets have done a great job of recovering, getting the passing lanes, forcing a turnover. This unit out on the floor for the Hornets is their best unit in that regard.
2 minutes left in the second quarter. Rivers over Bogues. Mourning with another strong rebound. He's approaching a double-double already, but Rivers slapped it away, and Ewing with a finish.
Rivers again makes a hustling play just when it looked like they were about to get out of there, with Muggsy Bogues pushing the ball.
Charlotte's lead cut to 4. On the pick and roll, Mourning couldn't handle the pass cleanly. Now Gill. Pretty fadeaway shot, off balance by Kendall Gill. He has 6. Charlotte back up by that margin, 6.
The success of the Charlotte Hornets has only been troubled by Kendall Gill trying to find his place in that success.
Doc Rivers powers to the basket.
Mourning stepped in, got the rebound, and you'll see that Bogues didn't quite have control of the ball, bounced it right out of his hands, and Ewing slams it down, and then Doc Rivers, trying to take advantage of his size, quickly into the lane, picks up the personal. So the Knicks have kept the pressure on the interior of the Hornet defense, and they've been rewarded by going to the free throw line. Kaminsky now going to get back in the game. We'll see if some of that anger and frustration he can work off. The only problem is I only get a minute 18. No. Coach, I mean, I'm going out, but let me go out in a blaze.
Kenny Gaddison is the man that leaves the game, having picked up his 3rd foul. Rivers has scored the last 4 Knick points. It's a 4-point game. Bogues threading his way inside. Oakley broke it up. Ewing for the Knicks.
Bogues made a good pass to Kaminsky. He wasn't ready to handle it. That's why the Knicks have the ball back.
Final minute and a half. Starks, rainbow for 3.
When the game is close, that's when Starks seems to be able to make dramatic plays. Newman, tough shot.
Kaminsky kept it alive, but now the numbers for New York. Starks to Oakley, who lost it. Bogues takes it away for Charlotte. Mourning all alone.
That's what Bogues will do. They didn't have to make an extra pass that time. They just had to carry it in. They got a little bit too cute. He ends up pushing it back the other way, and they end up with a deuce for Mourning.
Starks, another tray, his 3rd of the first half. Game tied at 57. Hornets will take the final shot of the half. Won't get it away. Just barely got it off, but it wouldn't go. John Starks, with 3 first-half trays, has brought the Knicks to a tie at halftime. New York on a 21-9 run to end the half. We'll be joining Bob Costas for the Prudential halftime report after these messages.
Halftime at Madison Square Garden, the Hornets and the Knicks are tied at 57. The latest word we received was that Larry Johnson, after having that lower right leg examined, has left the hospital and is headed back to Madison Square Garden. As for more particulars, we'll give them to you when details become available. We don't know yet if Johnson can play in the second half of this game, but we'll try and stay on top of the story. Now, we have a lot of ground to cover, so let's get right to it. Our opening game of the day was in Cleveland, Game 5 of the Nets and Cavaliers. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from Richfield Coliseum. Mark Price played only 7 minutes in the first half, playing with a bad thumb, didn't even attempt a shot. Terrell Brandon, though, replaced him, hit 5 of 6 from the perimeter in the second quarter, helping the Cavs to a 9-point lead at the half. But Derek Coleman again played all 48 minutes, led everybody with 33 points. The Cavs were ahead by as many as 14, but Coleman helped bring the Nets back to within 4 midway through the fourth. Big play here down the stretch. Price beats his man, goes baseline for 2 of his 16 second-half points, turned into a 3-point play with the foul shot, extending Cleveland's lead over Chuck Daly's Nets to 10. Outstanding performance turned in by Cavs center Brad Daugherty, 24 points, 20 rebounds, 8 assists. That basket made it 94-84. They wind up winning it 99-89. And among those commenting after the game, Terrell Brandon, who came up big off the bench for Lenny Wilkins.
It felt like the old college days, of scoring some points. They kept doubling down. Maurice Cheeks kept doubling down on Larry and Brad, and they just kept kicking it out. And I found myself open. I just kept shooting it, and a couple of times the shot clock went down, and I tried to create something and popped a couple of jump shots off of that. So I think the more you shoot, the more it goes in, the more confidence you get.
So the Cavs and the Bulls are matched up once again in the playoffs. Game 1 Tuesday night at Chicago Stadium. Game 2 Thursday, also in the Windy City. It's the 4th playoff meeting since Michael Jordan came into the league between these two teams. Back in 1989, he provided some of the best drama in NBA playoff history. The best-of-5 series was tied at 2 apiece. Cleveland led by 1. Chicago inbounded with one last chance. Listen.
The inbounds pass comes into Jordan. Here's Michael at the foul line. A shot on Elo. Good! The Bulls win it! They win it! Set the Cleveland Cavaliers. Michael Jordan hits it at the foul line.
As you see, Jordan has had some of his biggest games against the Cavaliers. These are playoff games only, averaging better than 38 points in the postseason against Cleveland. He's topped 53 times, and his highest regular season output also came at the expense of Cleveland. That was a 69-point game about 3 years ago. So what are they going to do to stop this gentleman?
That's always a question, particularly with Cleveland. It's Elo, Gerald Wilkins, Michael Sanders has a big responsibility there too. I think one of the interesting stories there with Chicago-Cleveland is that everybody thought that with Chicago slipping into the second spot that they'd have a tougher run through the playoffs, but they waltzed past Atlanta. Cleveland doesn't seem to be playing that well. It could be harder for the Knicks.
Listen, that's why they got Gerald Wilkins, and Gerald's always saying that even when Jordan has a bad game, he never gives Wilkins any credit. There's a lot of animosity between these two guys. Jordan is telling people that he's going to step up his game, if you can believe it, 10 notches against Gerald Wilkins.
You know, everyone was talking, as you said, about the Bulls possibly having the tougher road, and now we see that the Knicks may be tested by Charlotte, and Cleveland was stretched out to 5 by the Nets. In the meantime, the Bulls, after sweeping the Hawks, will play on Tuesday, and that's what, their 4th game in 16 days, I think.
And that really helps, because not only is Jordan battling back from the sprained ankle, but the more rest and the more space between games for guys like Bill Cartwright and John Paxson is a big plus for the Bulls.
Good chance for radio man Johnny Kerr, the color analyst you heard on the call there with Jim Durham, to rest his vocal cords as well, because I'm sure that Michael will get him up to a fever pitch at some time in the remainder of the postseason. When we come back, we'll shift our attentions out west to the Suns and the Lakers after a message from Prudential and a word from the NBA. All 4 games, as you probably know, have been won by the road team, and it brings to mind a series 9 years ago between the Nets and Sixers. Philly was the defending NBA champ. Dr. J, Moses Malone, and the rest. Darryl Dawkins had gone from the 76ers to the Nets. This is Game 5 at the Spectrum. Malone to the dock for the reverse. Bobby Jones on the block here, but the Nets able to get the follow-up basket, and eventually they win the game 101-98, and the significance here is that the road team won every game in the series. The Nets had gone into Philly. They won the first 2. Everybody said, what's going on here? Philly, the defending champs. But they went to the Meadowlands and evened things, just as Phoenix went out to the Forum in L.A. and got even, and everyone thought it was a foregone conclusion that the 76ers would wrap up with a victory in the 5th game at home. In fact, Dr. J all but guaranteed it. The Nets went in and upset them again. Last Sunday at about this time, the Suns were down 2-0, but that didn't put a damper on things for Suns coach Paul Westphal.
We're going to win the series. We're going to win one Tuesday, then the next game's Thursday. We'll win there. Then we'll come back and we'll win the series on Sunday. And everybody will say what a great series it was.
Now, just like the 76ers almost a decade ago, Westphal and his Suns have a chance to finish the task. For a game report, we go to Phoenix and join Dick Enberg and Quinn Buckner. Dick?
All right, Bob, and Quinn feeling very comfortable in Phoenix, born in Phoenix, Illinois, and on this Mother's Day, Jessica watching her son at work, and if she's a student of history, she'll like this, because history will be made. Either the Lakers will be the first number 8 team ever to eliminate a number 1, or Phoenix will be the first team ever to rally from 2 losses at home and win a series. And for Paul Westphal, while he's reluctant to be a modern-day NBA young Isaiah, he nevertheless is 2/3 of the way home with that prediction made a week ago.
Well, we got 2 of them. All this prophet stuff, I'm a little uncomfortable with that. The only place that prophecy is always right is in the Bible. But I really feel that we have the best team, and that I have a lot of confidence in this team, and that we'll go out and beat the Lakers at home when we need to. That's what basketball's all about. You got to go out and do it, and it's a very interesting series.
Well, if it is going to be an interesting series, the thing that's got to happen from the top is their superstar, Charles Barkley, has to release the pressure for the rest of his teammates. He comes out, takes over the game. Hopefully the rest of his team will relax. That's the only way that this prophet will be a reality.
And meanwhile, this city of Phoenix and the state of Arizona in a boil over the beloved Phoenix Suns. And with more on that, here's Hannah Storm.
Well, Dick, a week ago, the fans here were crushed and devastated. Now that Phoenix has taken 2 games in Los Angeles, they are in an absolute frenzy. Witness the scene at Sky Harbor International at 1 a.m. on Friday morning as the Suns returned from Los Angeles. 5,000 fans at the airport to greet them, but Coach Paul Westphal said, hey, these fans have to remember, we haven't won anything yet. We're not even out of the first round. Well, that hasn't dampened anybody's enthusiasm. In fact, take a look at the classified ads from this week in the Arizona Republic. Suns tickets are selling for as much as $500 a piece for today's Game 5. So as you can see from all this, there's an absolute adoration for the Phoenix Suns, but also very high expectations. The fans here will be content with nothing less than a championship, and that adds even more pressure on these athletes today. That's the story in Phoenix, Bob. Now back to New York.
Anna, thanks to you and to Dick Enberg and Quinn Buckner. Quick thought on this one?
Well, I know that yesterday Phoenix was only practicing fast breaks during practice. They're not going to have any set plays in this game. Charles Barkley said, hey, I didn't know we had any all season.
Now, before we leave, this is an unbelievably big week for you. First of all, it was Sports Heroes Week on Wheel of Fortune. You got to chum around with Pat Sajak and Vanna White, and you won more money than any other sports legend. How much did you take away?
$47,000 for charity, the primary one being the ex-NBA Players Association, the guys that didn't qualify for the pension.
That's a great gesture. And tomorrow, you go in as part of a tremendously distinguished class to the Hall of Fame in Springfield, Massachusetts. I hope I don't leave anyone out, but Dan Issel's on the list for tomorrow, and Walt Bellamy, and Dick McGuire, and Dr. J, Ann Myers.
Calvin Murphy.
Calvin Murphy.
And I'm sitting here today with Peter and Bob. The biggest thrill of all, to get into the Hall of Fame. It's such a privilege. I am so honored and ecstatic to say
it really is tremendous. Congratulations. I'm being serious now. I'm not kidding around. I'm not being sarcastic. I'm being serious.
Thank you, Bob.
They're all stunned. We'll send it back to the Garden for the second half. Hornets and the Knicks tied at 57. Tom Hammond and Snapper Jones will rejoin you after these messages from your local station.
This has been the Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by the Prudential. Peace of mind. It comes with every piece of the rock.
That's Charlotte playing essentially without Larry Johnson have to feel like they can win this game.
They did a terrific job, and you see what Alonzo Mourning has done in that first half of play. You thought that the Charlotte Hornets would doing a much better job, but it's the Knicks that are shooting the better percentage.
And continuing with our Miller Genuine Draft halftime stats, you see that surprisingly the Hornets have out-rebounded New York. Kenny Gaddison, who replaced Larry Johnson, doing a good job on the boards for the Hornets. And a reminder, we'll be taking a look at our Miller moment later in the telecast. Let's go to Dan Hicks now for a report on Larry Johnson. Dan?
Thanks, Tom. All right, I'll start. Charlotte Hornets, you just went to the hospital with Larry Johnson. What is the diagnosis as you know it right now?
He just has a sprain in his right leg, and the x-rays were all normal. There's no fracture.
Does he expect to play in this game today, be back?
I don't know. We're going to see how he feels in the locker room, and then we'll make our decision a little bit later.
I know he's a tough guy. He told me before he left, Doctor, that he'd be back. Do you think he will?
I think he's got a chance. He's tough.
All right, Dr. Perry, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Dan.
Let's send it back to Tom.
All right, Dan. Good news, perhaps, for the Charlotte Hornets. We're ready to start the second half when we return. Hammond, Steve Jones, Dan Hicks at Madison Square Garden. Third quarter underway with Charlotte and New York tied at 57.
Quick change in the line. Sidney Green gets a start here to try to protect Gaddison, who's got 3 personal fouls. They want to use him later, trying to post up right away Kendall Gill.
Guarded by John Starks.
Shot clock at 7.
Gill spun away, and then Smith helping out blocked it. Charlotte gets it back as Newman fires from outside and just beat the shot clock.
To see if the Hornets get back to their disruptive defensive style and stay out of foul trouble here in the second half, and whether the New York Knicks can continue to get to the line and then get some dramatic threes from John Starks.
Patrick Ewing with New York's first basket of the second half. Ewing now with 20 points. Quick shot by Johnny Newman finds the mark.
They've got to come back and neutralize John Newman against Charles Smith. Smith is not able to use his size against Newman at all, and the smaller sprint game has really caused problems for Charles Smith in the opening round of the playoffs. Sidney Green.
Charlotte on fire to start the third quarter. They've hit their first 3 shots. Newman breaks that pass up. Knicks will get it back. Johnny Newman, averaging only 7 a game in the playoffs, has already scored 16.
And in the first quarter, when they sprinted out to that 34-26 advantage, it was the pace that created a lot of the problems for the Knicks trying to get it back. Rivers.
Can't connect on the tray. Green's on the out-of-bounds line. Jess Kersey marks it off.
Green was trying to say he was calling for a timeout, but Kersey said you stepped on the line, so you're still out of bounds.
You got a problem with that?
New York gets it back. They only got 23 seconds on the shot clock. Now they recycle it to a full 24 for the Knicks. Alonzo Mourning has been equal to Billing in his battle against Ewing. Lob to Ewing after they set a screen, and he can't hit from in close. Well, there's an elbow as Green got an elbow to the chin of Charles Oakley.
It was inadvertent, though, as he was trying to turn. Oakley was right in his face, and will catch it. You'll see he comes up. He led with the elbow, but he wasn't swinging the elbow.
Mourning outside shot. Smith finally corrals it for the Knicks. Bogues again all over Doc Rivers.
Mourning tipped that one away. What's interesting to watch is when Bogues is in the game, how Bristow is real nervous and jittery on the sideline. Every time he's looking for him to make something happen, it's hard for him to stand still over there.
Starks. Oh, Mourning just put Ewing on the deck. Here comes the Charlotte break. Three-point attempt by Newman. Oh, Gill with a great rebound and putback. Kendall Gill. And the Knicks will call a 20-second timeout.
It is a battle underneath, and this time Mourning wins. He gets inside, and you can see he holds his position, showing that he's a strong guy in his own right, able to tip the ball to Bogues, and they're off on transition.
Alonzo Mourning, 21 points, 9 rebounds.
Yesterday when we talked to the Charlotte Hornets, they all felt, even though they lost the series 3-1, that they could come in, be competitive, and even win a game here. And they had to feel good about that first half. Their number 2 score down in the playoffs. Larry Johnson, his first few shots, we haven't seen him at all, and yet they were able to stay even, and now they have the lead again.
Ewing has 20 points and 7 rebounds, just slightly below the Mourning totals thus far. Not only is this playoff basketball, but it's for bragging rights all summer when Mourning and Ewing get together. Air ball from Charles Smith.
But that's what happens when you're left out of the offense, and immediately Pat Riley goes to Anthony Mason. But Smith's an offensive player, but he's not getting a chance to look at it at the offensive end, and he's being burned by Johnny Newman. Steal Oakley.
Oakley with a great steal, but he left it right for Mourning. Then Ewing knocks it out of bounds with 9 on the shot clock.
Because Bogues has not made that 15-foot jump shot, he's turning it down. That's what caused the near steal by Ewing. Smith out of the ball game. Pat Riley has a few words to say to him.
Bogues has only scored 1 basket on a layup. His outside shot has not been there. See the shot clock with 9. I don't know what the conference is about. Are they going to adjust the shot clock to 19?
So they get a new clock because they felt that the Knicks had control of the basketball.
Gill and Mourning on a pick and roll. By the way, Ewing is back defending Mourning. He switched off him some in the first half. There's the outside shot from Bogues, and he finally gets one down. Now that could change the complexion of the game in a hurry.
Well, they know that he's a guy that can always get a shot. They want him to try to beat them, much like Oakley is invited to shoot the ball against the Hornets.
Muggsy Bogues with a backcourt foul, his second.
They're trying to screen on him, but you can see he is going to stay up. He thought he got pushed off.
Charlotte's on an 8-0 run as New York opens stone cold. They've only hit 1 of 6. Oakley left wide open.
Oak has been up to the task today. He was 5 of 6 at the intermission. Hits his first. Bogues again.
Muggsy Bogues, 2 straight from outside. That could open up the middle for Mourning.
Bogues trying to double up. That means Rivers is wide open.
Into Ewing. Power and blocked by Mourning. Bogues with a hesitation dribble, couldn't penetrate. Green. Got it back.
Mourning trying to use his quickness, trying to get inside, ended up turning the ball over. Mourning is quick off his feet. Ewing trying to power his way in. Nothing but the hand on top of the ball. You get one more look at the quickness of Mourning. Turnover
Almost. Stark saves it for the Knicks as Mason and Newman collided inside. Oakley hits again. Charles Oakley with 15 points. He only averages 7 a game. Kendall Gill, like a boomerang. Second one goes down.
Well, Gill's perimeter game has been his Achilles heel, but today he's rebounded all of his misses, been able to put the ball back in. They get a carry against Anthony Mason.
And once again, the defense of the Hornets swiping at Mason, forcing him off balance, and he commits the turnover. The New York Knicks, excellent rebounding team, and yet to start the second half, Charlotte has outboarded them 9-1. The men of teal are for real. They lead the Knicks 71-63.
Well, welcome back to Madison Square Garden. Dan Hicks back here by the Hornets locker room where Larry Johnson with his injured sprained ankle was up walking around just a moment ago. Whether he will return to the ball game is still up in the air. I just talked to the trainer. They say they're trying to get him ready, but the x-rays were negative. That is the good news, but his right ankle is still very tender. We'll have another update when it becomes available. Let's go back out to Tom.
All right, Dan, but with 7 minutes left in the third quarter, the Hornets playing very well without Larry, thank you. And they're doing it in this quarter with some offensive rebounding. They've missed 5 shots, but 4 of them they've gotten back off the offensive board.
Well, playing like a team that believes they have some advantages, and one of them has been Johnny Newman at the small forward. He has been wearing out that position. He has dominated the numbers against Smith and Mason.
Tough shot off the glass by Newman for his 18th point. Bogues knocks it away from Anthony.
See, now they're working against the clock, and they don't have any idea how much time is left at that 7.
They do get it inside to Ewing. Shoots over Green for 2. 22 in the game for Ewing.
Ewing and Oakley are the only Knicks to score so far here in the quarter. They both have 4 points. Newman.
He's hot. Missed that one, though, and Oakley has another rebound. 6 boards for Charles Oakley. Greg Anthony at the point, replacing Rivers.
See, they're challenging Anthony to shoot as they try to drop that ball inside.
Anthony for 3. And Larry Johnson getting ready to return to the court for the Charlotte Hornets after spraining his ankle a minute into the game. Alonzo Mourning can't hit from outside. Greg Anthony wades in to get it for the Knicks. Oakley again, wide open. This one no good, but Mason has the foul from Green. Larry Johnson on the Charlotte bench. He had taken 2 shots, hit them both. Only a minute into the game before he went down with a sprained right ankle. Went to the hospital for x-rays, which proved to be negative, and perhaps he will return to the game. He's come from the dressing room back to the bench.
Well, if nothing else, he wants to try to lend some spiritual help.
Well, he picked the right venue to make a heroic return. Remember when Willis Reed, bad leg and all, came on for the Knicks? Game 7 of their series against the Lakers, where the Knicks went on to win their first NBA championship.
Del Curry and Gaddison in the ball game. They got to get Curry unleashed. Gaddison will give him some more rebounding.
Mourning called for the travel. Bristows Hornets trying to weather a 7-0 New York run as Mourning turns it over.
That's been the story of the ball game. The Hornets have been able to sprint out, and the Knicks have had to come uphill. They've gotten some big three-point shots at timely times to cut into the lead.
Oakland. Fouled by Gill.
One of the things that Riley did against Indiana was take advantage of a weakness at the offensive end. Here is a weakness at the offensive end for them. You've got Larry Johnson limping back out on the floor, but Kendall Gill cannot guard Charles Oakley down on the box, and that's the big advantage that they've had.
Actually, snapper Muggsy Bogues coming to help out Gill was assessed that last foul, so it's 3 fouls on Muggsy. Oakley hits the first free throw, and here comes Larry Johnson. Grimacing in pain on the court, unable to get up, had to be carried from the court. And here with 4:49 left in the third quarter, his right ankle heavily taped. He returns to the battle.
Well, Bogue sits down, so they will slow down, but they'll have more offensive firepower out there. We'll find out how effective Larry Johnson is going to be.
Charlotte's lead cut to 1. Pick and roll. Mourning. Oakley on the rotation, got him, and forced another turnover off Mourning and out of bounds.
Now, Oakley has been very active and tremendous today at both ends of the floor. Did a good job of rotating.
Larry Johnson giving that ankle a little test, trying to see if it'll hold up. It didn't look so good there. And then Blackman travels for New York.
Well, let's see if Larry Johnson can get loosened up and weather the fact that the adrenaline gets flowing and the ankle warms up, that he'll be able to do something out there that will make him a forceful player. One thing we know, he can use his strength to hold his position down on the box.
Curry's fall away. Came up short. Anthony for New York. Knicks look for the lead. Blackman open. Oakley got it back. What a game Charles Oakley's having.
Now, Oakley seems to be in the right spot at the right time the entire afternoon. That ball was headed the other way. He ran underneath it.
Blackman gives the Knicks the lead.
The combination in the backcourt's a bad one for the Hornets right now. Gill and Curry.
Gill shot blocked by Anthony. Here comes Mason for New York. Knicks have scored 11 in a row. Blackman. Mason with a rebound. His follow shot. Alonzo Mourning grabs it for the Hornets. And Charlotte will take a 20-second timeout. Larry Johnson trying to gut it out on that bum right ankle. Well, while we take this 20-second timeout, let's look at Larry Johnson, and how can you assess?
Well, on the trot back to the 20-second timeout huddle, he looked to be moving better. He seemed not to be favoring the ankle right now, so he's got to get the sense and feel that there is no more damage that can be done, and he can live with the pain of the sore ankle and then come out and be a force. The Knicks right now have been able to get the lead by getting second opportunities. In running up the floor, you could see there was a little bit of favoring that time down, and he walking with a little bit of a limp here. You can see they haven't scored in the last 3:45.
At one point, Charlotte out-rebounded New York 9-1 to open the quarter, but since that point, it's turned around. Knicks 7-1 on the boards. And they have the lead. Tony Bennett in at the point now for the Hornets.
Sits on the shot clock.
Johnson's fall away. Came up short. Ewing with a rebound.
Just the fact that he was able to make that move, I think, lifted Johnson's spirits. He did a pretty good job of sprinting back to try to keep Mason from getting a cheap transition hoop.
Bennett comes to double team Ewing, who finds Anthony.
The Knicks have made the shots that they've had to make to break down the defense. They're inviting Anthony to shoot. He's come up with 5 in the quarter. Knicks lead by 3.
Bennett can't penetrate against Anthony.
You see, they've not given any screens for Dale Curry. He's having a tough time getting one loose, but he gets that one down.
Curry 1 of 4 shooting so far. That's his first basket. Knicks with the ball up 1. 1:45 left in the third quarter at the Garden.
Shot clock at 5.
Ewing, pretty shot. Ewing has 24, the Knicks up 3. Johnson posting up Mason and calling for the ball. He has it. Gave it up, got it back. Came to the jump stop on that bad ankle, and he'll step to the line to shoot 2 when we come back to Madison Square Garden at the 1:18 mark in the third.
In New York, coming up after the Knicks and the Hornets, the decisive 5th game from the America West Arena in Phoenix, the Suns and the Lakers. To put it mildly, a surprising series to this point. Road team winning every game. Remember, the Lakers had not beaten the Suns even once in the regular season. 0-5 against them. They surprised everybody behind Sedale Threet's outstanding performance in Game 1. Then they repeat it on Phoenix's home floor. Vlade Divac's coming up big, and look, Phoenix denied their usual output of 3-pointers, just 1 for 8, so LA takes a 2-0 lead back home. But then the Suns get even. They had to really fight for it. They were still in jeopardy in the last minute of Game 3, but they did win that, and then they even it at 2-2 with an easy victory. Barkley again, the high man for the Suns in Game 4, and they hold the Lakers to just 37% shooting from the floor, which brings us to Game 5 in Phoenix, and we'll go out there after the ball game at Madison Square Garden is concluded. Back to Tom Hammond and Snapper Jones.
All right, Bob. Larry Johnson telling the Charlotte bench that his ankle is starting to loosen up a bit, feels a little better, although it's not, as you might imagine, absolutely all right. Look at him hopping around as he sinks the free throw.
Well, he wants to get something in.
That's Charlotte's first free throw of this half. Alonzo Mourning begins the half on the Charlotte bench, or begins this return from timeout on the bench, getting some extra rest at the end of the third quarter. He's been invisible. No points, 1 rebound in the third.
Pressure has been one of the things that's worked in Johnny Newman in the Hornets' favor. Newman goes down, so they're able to break the press.
Anthony Mason. Tough rebound by Larry Johnson. Had the position and pulled it down.
That's where they've missed Larry Johnson in terms of cutting down the second opportunities. His strength to be able to hold his position against Oakley and Mason is really important.
Johnson with a spin. Found Bennett wide open. A three-point attempt is good. Tony Bennett, the rookie's had a big game. He's 4 for 4, 9 points, and Charlotte back on top. Greg Anthony with a layup. Shot clock off. The Hornets can hold for the final attempt of the half.
Johnson's good off the dribble, and he is getting everything set up right now, trying to come inside to get his own shot.
Up and under, he tried to pass it away as the quarter comes to an end. Charles Oakley has been the workhorse for the Knicks. At the end of the third, we're tied 80-80. We'll be back to Madison Square Garden after these messages and a word from your local station. Start the fourth quarter at the Garden all even as Larry Johnson has made a courageous return from a first quarter ankle sprain to the Charlotte lineup.
We'll find out here in the fourth whether the Hornets can be disruptive and get command of the ball game, or whether the Knicks can maintain their presence and poise, rebound the basketball, score with Ewing, and get some timely perimeter play. Gaddison thought he had all ball on that one as Ewing handed him the ball.
Instead, it's personal foul number 4 on Gaddison.
You see Ewing wheel in, and he puts the ball right into Gaddison's hand. Gaddison has not been able to catch a break this afternoon.
Ewing, who has been sporting those fluorescent shoes in the Knicks colors throughout the playoffs. We'll see what he's done by quarter. Bright-colored shoes. The Knicks went to the all-black shoes for the playoffs.
It works for some, and it doesn't work for others. There have been some teams in black shoes that weren't very good and got eliminated.
It fits the Knicks image, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, they're supposed to be a version of bad boys, but they're just a physical team, and the quickness has been actually working in the favor of Johnny Newman and the Hornets. That time he turned it over, but when they have moved the ball, moved themselves quicker, the Knicks have not been able to affect them with their size.
Newman able to force the turnover as Larry Johnson limps over to the Charlotte bench.
Well, they're probably going to try to save Larry Johnson. They know that Gaddison's got some foul problems. They'd like to have him around for the stretch.
Won't that ankle stiffen up, though, as he sits out very long?
Well, it will, but I still think that, they're going with the strategy of having some size out there on the floor right now with Johnson being able to come back and score.
Who's going to take it? Gaddison of the Hornets. Alonzo Mourning back on the court for Charlotte. Outside pop by Curry. Del Curry, the leading scorer off the bench in the NBA. Averaging 15 a game through the regular season. Anthony's outside shot rebounded by Oakley.
And that's what they want Anthony to do. In the third, though, he made those shots. Again, they're doubling and leaving Anthony open.
Passed up the shot that time. 24-second down to 6. As Rolando Blackman hits. Ro Blackman with 8 points.
They got it to Blackman. He's a guy with a dependable stick, and he's showing that he's still got that ability to knock down that medium-range shot under pressure. Mourning.
No Bill has not scored in the second half as Newman fouls Mason.
You can see the screen inside in the collision. Ewing will get the better of this as the ball was handed right to Charles Oakley. Oakley has been everywhere here tonight, this afternoon.
Mourning had slightly outplayed Ewing in the first half, but has not scored, has 1 rebound in the second. Strong move by Ewing, blocked by Mourning. Bennett leads the Charlotte break, 3-on-3. He lost it. Starks.
Big drive. John Starks came right in after the block shot. Didn't hesitate. Got the score.
Mourning against Ewing. This is the marquee matchup. Jump hook short. Out of bounds. Off Mourning. Mourning blocked Ewing's shot a moment ago.
He went to get this one before and got it this time as he got the ball before it came down.
Genuine moments.
Our Miller moment takes us to Wednesday night in Charlotte with 0.4 of a second remaining. Alonzo Mourning hits the 20-footer as the Hornets beat the Boston Celtics 104-103. That win gave the Hornets a 3-1 series win over the Celtics and made Charlotte the first of the new expansion teams to win a playoff series. In recognition of this moment, Miller Genuine Draft will donate $1,000 to the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund.
Another look at the Mourning defense, and you'll understand why the block was successful. He allowed Ewing to shoot the ball. He just floated that ball up there, and then with his quickness, he went and got it. But they couldn't control the ball at there under the floor. We got the towels waving, Tom. Knicks fans expecting a big finish.
Larry Johnson back for the Hornets. Alonzo Mourning has 3 block shots in this second half, but no points and only 1 rebound.
Bogues is back in the ball game, and that should help Mourning's offensive game. Ewing.
Through a crowd. Got it.
This time it was Patrick Ewing adjusting his offense. He went hard to the baseline after he got it, but a little pump fake gets Mourning off of his feet. The brush. Yes, congratulate yourself, Patrick.
Shooting for the 3-point play. That's the 3rd foul on Mourning. And the fans chant MVP, MVP. Ewing's played like one, especially in the second half today. outplaying his younger adversary in the second frame.
Johnson back out on the floor. Briscoe knows he's got to have some They get a foul.
Blackman on a hold, his first foul. Charlotte has had 5 possessions this fourth quarter. 3 times they've turned it over.
The first time that they've really been down big, and we'll find out whether they can respond down 7. Plenty of time to go in the ball game.
Perimeter shot, no good, then batted in. Was that Johnson?
Right. Take them any way you can get them, as long as they go in.
He just hammered it through. Anthony on the pick and roll. Ewing calling for the ball, but Starks puts it up. And Mourning collars the rebound. Here's Larry Johnson against Mason. Strong drive. He left it for Mourning. The shot will not count.
Tremendous quickness by Larry Johnson, even with a guy that's supposedly having some problem with the angle. You watch how quickly he explodes into the middle off the dribble. He's right in there before the defense can react, and he'll be back at the line. When you have strength and quickness and the ability to put the ball on the floor, he does not like the way he's shooting free throws. That's why he's jumping up and down. He's not sure.
I don't know what that conversation is about. Maybe saying to him,
he can't cross the line until the ball hits the rim. He hasn't been crossing the line as much as he's been jumping up and down. That time he settled down, got the free throw to go.
89-85 New York. Starks trying to get away from Bowes. Now takes it to the hoop and scores.
Defensive Mourning didn't step up early enough. Curry has been short with that shot the entire afternoon.
Mason pushes it, and he's fouled by Johnson.
Bogues turns John Starks toward the middle, and Starks sees a lane and a seam and goes in quick. You can see that Mourning didn't get there in time, and then Anthony Mason on a quick push and a stop and go. He got Larry Johnson by surprise. The real secret in basketball is quick explosions. You can get in a sprint, and if a player can time you, he can force you really out of control because you only have so much court space to work in. And that was a good adjustment by Mason. 2 more free throws.
This game's similar to game 2 of the Knicks-Pacers series when New York trailed virtually the entire game before putting on a burst in the fourth quarter to win.
Johnson looking at the clock, trying to post up.
Spins away, and Ewing saved it. Starks. And then a foul. It's on Alonzo Mourning, and that's number 4.
Larry Johnson did everything right except finish the play because Ewing came to him, swatted it away, and that allowed Starks to make the save. One thing the Hornets have done whenever there's been a transition opportunity and they saw they were going to obviously be beat, they have fouled, forced the Knicks to go to the line, but the Knicks have been up to the task from the free throw line. They're shooting better than 80% this afternoon.
Greg Anthony off the Knicks bench for 11 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists, and getting some quality playing time here in the fourth quarter from Pat Riley.
See if the Hornets now can find some consistent offensive rhythm. They've got to get out of a half-court game. They've got to get back to a sprint and an open court where they can stretch the Knicks out, get something quick and cheap.
10-point lead is New York's biggest of the afternoon. Johnson spinning on Mason. Bogues penetrates. Mourning with his first bucket of the half.
The penetration by Bogues is what gets Mourning opportunities because Ewing is going to come to him.
.6:45 left in this game one. Starks can't hit. Ewing and Mourning battling for it. On the floor, picked up by Charlotte.
They've been up and in the jersey of Curry. They're willing to let Bogues have a shot, but not Curry. They can't control the rebound.
Outside shot rims out by Del Curry. And Ewing with a baseball pass to Starks, who missed the layup but was fouled by Del Curry. And with 6:15 left in the game, the Knicks have taken the sting out of the Hornets. With producer John Faratzis, director John McDonough, Tom Hammond, Steve Jones, Dan Hicks at Madison Square Garden. Game one of the best-of-7 Eastern Conference Series between the Charlotte Hornets and the New York Knicks.
The Knicks have been able to reel in the Hornets. Hornets have only scored 7 points in almost 7 minutes of play. The Starks on the line and a chance to build the lead back to 10. And the Hornets have got to get the pace of the game back in their favor. They've got to score cheaply, and they've got to stop giving easy transition buckets to the New York Knicks.
Starks with a double-double, 13 points and 10 assists. Coming back from that infamous headbutt of Reggie Miller in the Indiana series. I asked Pat Riley about that yesterday. He says sometimes John is too focused. Mourning might have gotten away with a walk.
Mourning saying, I got beat all the way. You force him to go left, you're likely to get a mistake. There's the extra step in between. But they're able to get the ball back. Shot clock at 13. In the half court, it's much more difficult for the Hornets to score. Shot clock at 5.
Shot clock to 1. Bogues did not get it off in time.
That's what the Knicks want. They want Bogues shooting the ball against the clock. They will gamble for that the entire 48 minutes.
Well, to begin the game, Muggsy Bogues was wreaking havoc with the New York ball handling, directly and indirectly causing numerous turnovers, but the Knicks have not committed a turnover the last 10 minutes. Have they gotten used to the style?
The defensive pressure was more aggressive at the outset of the game. As you see, the Knicks are flying at everybody. Curry finally gets another hoop.
Curry makes it a 7-point New York lead.
Turnover.
There's another turnover, so just as we commented on New York's good ball handling.
Well, they've increased their pressure on the ball. Now if they can stretch out the defense and score quickly. Don't let the Knicks pack it in inside. Johnson holding the ball a little bit too long. This is when the Knicks can be effective. Good ball movement, Mourning. Doesn't stay.
Couldn't hit that shot. Mason with some fancy dribbling. Blackman. Is Alonzo Mourning running out of gas? He really hasn't been effective in the second half as Ewing takes the rebound.
He hasn't had the same opportunities, and when they change, Mourning doesn't do that one.
Mason lays it in, and New York reaches the century mark. Mourning with a strong move against Ewing.
Right now he's out of control, and he's trying to force things at the offensive end. Took a pretty good shot and slow getting back this time. They need a timeout. Mourning trying to catch his breath now, and he tells the trainer he's all right, but on this previous attempt, he comes across the middle real quick and takes an elbow in the chest.
Fast start, but a weak finish for Alonzo Mourning. NBA playoff basketball etched on the face of young Alonzo Mourning.
When you see that vein right there puffed up on Alonzo Mourning, that means that he is really intense. He is really upset as he's trying to get himself back into the ball game. Mourning giving a glaring look in the direction of the official, but the officials haven't taken him out of the game. He's got to move the ball, move himself, and do it quicker.
Patrick Ewing was the first to point out that prominent vein to us. He said when they play in the summer, when you see that vein pop out, Alonzo is getting ready. Got his own rebound and slammed it down.
Well, you were right. He was ready. He got a good look that time. The jump hook was a good controlled effort. Steal Bogues.
Bogues takes it away from Anthony. 2-on-1. Larry Johnson backs in and commits the offensive foul.
Mourning inside with good position. Missed that, but chased it right at the rim. Powers his way in.
Here's Larry Johnson running over Greg Anthony. Called for the offensive foul, and he's also been assessed a technical foul.
Larry Johnson wants right now in the stretch 3:29 is some respect from the officials. Felt that was Anthony acting on that one. Charlotte was ahead, 73-72. Maybe Larry should have stayed on.
Charlotte had a 1-point lead when Johnson re-entered the lineup, and since that point, New York has outscored them 30-18.
But they stopped moving the ball and they stopped stretching out the defense. They're going to get a foul against Muggsy Bogues.
And he's close to getting a tee. That's his fourth foul. For the young Hornets, average age just over 26 years of age, starting to come unglued a bit here in the fourth quarter.
But I think what the Hornets will take out of this ball game is that they can compete. This is much like the first ball game they played at Boston Garden, in which they were tied at the intermission, went on to lose the ball game, but then rebounded and came back strong in game 2. I think they feel good about a lot of the things that they've accomplished. They've got to do a better job of keeping Knicks from getting second opportunities.
Knicks on their way to their 23rd straight here at the Garden. Ewing lost it.
Oh, he handed it to
Bogues, coast to coast.
That's where they have trouble with Bogues. They can't find him. And that time Ewing thought that there was one of the players on his side of the floor. And here's turnover again.
The lead is 10 and still time for Charlotte.
That's why they got Blackman. A year ago, they didn't have anybody that could take the pressure off Patrick Ewing. Ewing blocked.
And a jump ball on Mason's block of Gill. Boy, Blackman has had some clutch baskets today for the Knicks. He's 4 for 4 here in the fourth quarter.
Bogues in a quick sprint to the other end, and that's where his size hurts him because Ewing just hovered above, knocked it away.
Mason controls the tap. Not a pretty thing, but New York comes away with the basketball and a 105-93 lead. Mourning didn't even contest that Ewing shot, and then Mason got the rebound.
Now that's what's really been the Achilles heel of these guys. For two guys, as you see Mourning go and get another one after Ewing has released it, is that they don't go back and rebound the ball. Normally, Johnson and Mourning are very good defensive rebounders, as you see.
It's interesting, but the Hornets look to me the tireder team, the more fatigued team here. We expected the opposite.
Well, it looked that way at the end of one, that the Knicks would run out of gas, but they have gotten a second win, and Ewing has been steady.
And again, Mourning didn't come out to contest the shot.
Too much dinner.
Last night. Well, that was the secret weapon, as Ewing met him at the hotel when the Hornets arrived, took him out for a night on the town. Patrick Ewing with 31 points today. It was the marquee matchup of former Georgetown centers, the rookie Mourning, the veteran Ewing. The first half belongs slightly to Alonzo Mourning. Second half overwhelmingly to Patrick Ewing. Leads all scores with 31.
Ewing has averaged 35 against this team. He's almost on his number now. They get the shot away or do not get it away against the clock.
All the snap has gone out of the Hornets. With 1:30 left. There's the way the centers matched up. Mourning still has more rebounds than Ewing.
Anthony hasn't had as much trouble with Bogues as Doc Rivers did. That's been able to open things up. Blackman for three.
First miss of the quarter.
But Mason has gotten the last three misses, giving the Knicks a chance to score again, and that's really been the story of the fourth quarter. Travel.
Coming up next, the deciding game, the fifth and final game from Phoenix as the Suns and the Lakers go at it. The Lakers winning the first two in Phoenix. Suns returning the favor at the Forum. They'll decide it coming up next. There's Alonzo Mourning, and I think, Snapper, by the time the final figures are in the books, it's going to be just about dead even between Mourning and Ewing as far as the numbers are concerned.
Ewing was more effective in the second half. He was able to hit more of his shots and make the difference. The crowd beginning to leave the Garden here.
It was a struggle, but New York will prevail in game one. Two more for Ewing. 33 in the game to match his jersey number.
Guys that will have to step up, certainly Larry Johnson will have to be more of a factor, and we hope that the ankle is not serious and that he can come back and play well in game number two. Kendall Gill was not really an effective offensive force. They've got to find a way to get Dale Curry involved. If they can get more offense into the ball game, then they can continue to play at pace. They had to set up too much this afternoon, and that's what hurt them. Ewing out, Oakley back in.
Big-time performance by Patrick Ewing here in game one.
You throw in Oakley and Mason keeping the ball alive. That really made a difference. Gill looking for some help from the officials. Doesn't get it.
Patrick Ewing finishes the afternoon with 33 points, 10 rebounds, 4 block shots, and 4 assists. Knicks just holding now as the final seconds tick away here in game one. Anthony's been one of the unsung heroes for the Knicks. He helped them come from behind to win this game one. An unlikely hero, Greg Anthony. 1.2 seconds left.
Larry Johnson telling people, hey, it takes 4 to win. This is only 1.
Led by Patrick Ewing, the New York Knicks come from behind to beat the Charlotte Hornets in game one, 111-95. We'll be back to the Garden in a moment. To Madison Square Garden at the end of 3 quarters, the score was tied at 80 apiece. In the fourth and deciding quarter, New York outscored Charlotte 31-15 to put away game one behind the 33-point, 10-rebound performance of Patrick Ewing. Back to the Garden for final comments in a moment.